Yo, how's it going, everybody? It's that time again, the time to win. I got my Swedish fish next to me and my pistachio nuts, the source of life, the sweet nectar of Mother Nature. That is Swedish fish. I like them because they're like Sour Patch Kids, but they don't have the little things of sugar that make your tongue feel all parched and at the end feeling like you can't drink enough water to survive the night, that kind of thing. Here we have a Najdorf English Attack and the sharpest variations that do exist. One of my favorite ways to play the game of chess. In case you're wondering what we're watching, if you think this was a checkers video, well then how lost are you? First of all, checkers and chess are not even in the same universe. If you're one of these people who tells people, yeah, I play chess, yeah, it's like checkers, then first of all, shame on you. Second of all, definitely a you problem, and I'll tell you why. Checkers has a total of 140,000 possible positions. Chess has over 1.5 billion possible positions. They're not even in the same consciousness as far as, thinking ahead goes. Why am I saying this? I don't know. It's something to talk about. This is all theory, by the way. Played this position recently against both Jeffrey Zhang and the young Wonder Liang at the Chicago Open this year, 2012. Ended up managing to win both those games against two players I will probably never beat again because they're both that good. But I will happily take the victory. Queen to b7 is not the correct move. Obviously left the d6 pawn hanging unless I'm the idiot and missing this tactic with the knight taking on e4. I don't know. I don't know actually anymore. I feel like I don't know anything anymore after that move. I guess he's going to play queen to c7. Perhaps rook takes d6 was not the correct decision. Now I have to guard the c2 mate and deal with the awkwardness of my rook on b6. Is it awkward or is it going to be useful? Time will tell. This is irritating. Do I want the endgame or not? It's never an easy decision. Never a Samuel Adams. Maybe a good decision, but not an easy one. That is for sure. A couple different moves here. I can take on a6 or I can play bishop to e4 and hit the rook. If the rook moves off, I can maybe take the a6 pawn, but he has bishop to d5. Or does he? If he plays bishop d5, I have b4. He moves and then I win a piece. So I will go for this move order and then take on a6 with the rook rather than taking on a6 immediately. Because if I had played rook takes a6 immediately, he would have taken, and then played bishop takes a2. And I can't play b3 to trap the bishop. Though probably that endgame is still winning for me because the two outside pass queenside pawns are quicker. And this is one of the risks in this line of the Najdorf is that black heads into an endgame that you see here, and white's queenside is just too much for black's kingside, even with a massive majority. Obviously, you see he has a 4-on-2 majority over on the kingside. And in addition to that, in addition to having the 4-on-2, he also has better pawn structure with my f-pawn and my h-pawn stinking up the place. But the problem is that the queenside pawns are coming too fast. One of the risks whenever you play a minority attack, which is a Sicilian where you advance pawns quickly, is that if you don't end up checkmating this king over here, then all those pawns you've overextended become weakness instead of asset. He's going to go for this line, and he's going to take on c2. I'm going to put the king on b1. Now he has to deal with the e5 pawn and guard the idea of me running the queenside pawns. Now he has an issue. He'd probably like to just take on h2, and maybe that's okay for him. I can take, and he takes, and then I start running the a-pawn a little bit faster than he can run the other pawns, or at least I'm hoping so, with minimal, at best, calculation, to be honest with you. But I'm going to assume that my pawns should be faster. If I play e5, h5, a5, h4, a6, h3, a7, h2, I assume that he can't really deal with this, especially when you consider that I will be queening with check. So not only am I up a tempo, but I'm queening with check, and that's a real problem. His king can't catch me. Run as fast as you can, can't catch the a-pawn, baby girl. I'm pretty sure that rhymes with gingerbread man, if you're keeping track at home. But again, that's still 3 riddles short of a leprechaun, and either way, you're looking at a pretty rough night. All right, well, now the pawns have gotten too far out of control. I have 40 seconds to his 50 seconds, and I don't think he can play this way, can he? Or am I the one losing? Rook to b8, a7, I take. Oh, no. He queens with check. What happened there? That's not fun. Now I have to come over here and go out of my way to go stop this pawn. bringing the rook down. I only have 25 seconds to his 50 seconds, as you can all see. But unfortunately for him, it may not be good enough. Or will it? No, it won't be. Because when he does go here, I will simply take it and advance my king. And again, as much as this was fun, and he made it look a lot trickier than it actually was, in the end, none of it really matters. Nothing really matters. Game over, baby girl. Alright, well, I'm going to get a second queen, and hopefully not lose on time, which of course would be the only saving grace for my opponent, but I can pre-move my way to victory at this point, which is his real problem. The biggest problem he has is that I don't need to use any time on the clock, really. Now we take and checkmate. Well, that was fun, and it was a live session, a little bit slower than the bullet brawls, and I figured that since the bullet brawls are absolute crazy town and only for the real roller coaster junkies out there, all you guys who just want to buckle up and just have your world rocked, we'll keep those the fast-paced thing that they are, usually only 1 or 2 games, as much as you guys want me to sit here and record an entire hour-long bullet session. It's not practical, and probably I wouldn't last very long. So for all you Bullet Brawl fans, you can look forward to that, of course, every Thursday, but what we'll try to do is make these live sessions not only a little bit slower in terms of the actual game, obviously 3 minutes is an easier pace to swallow, but we'll also spend a little bit of time going over it. Just because if I have a critical point that I wanted to get across, something that I mentioned maybe during the game while it was live, I'll go out of my way to give you guys a little knowledge, feed you a little factoid for the kids, give you some Rice Krispies to chew on. The thing is, this variation of the Najdorf English Attack is really sharp. Obviously, there are other moves here for white in addition to taking on f6, but this line and this variation with the knight maneuver to go win the dark square bishop is kind of the in vogue thing to do right now if you're white. And again, the main point of the position is that obviously black has a ton of potential against the king. Obviously there's a lot of tactics, especially if black gets all the pieces going and maybe even gets d5 in. There's going to be some danger over here on the white king. If white can simplify the position, we have 2 long-term factors that just make it nearly a lost position for black. We have the bishop pair for white, and we have the 3-on-1 majority over here on the queen side, which is a big deal because any endgame, even an endgame where black might win a pawn on the king side, is probably still going to be really dangerous if the pass pawns get rolling and white's was able to keep the bishop pair or advance them a little bit too quickly. So the main theory here, the main move here for black is this move rook to c6, and that was the move that both Jeffrey Zhang and Wonder Liang played. It's a tricky line. We're not going to go into all the theory, but I think my games against those 2 future super GMs of the world are in the database. But today my opponent played queen to b7, and maybe I'm actually greedy taking this pawn. Perhaps it's unnecessary, and I should just make a simple developing move or something, but I think taking the pawn looks okay, and even though he won the e4 pawn in this line, the more I look at it, the more I think maybe it wasn't as good for him as it first looked. Perhaps knight d6 is possible, but then maybe I even have queen takes e5, and so the simplification of the position is a risk for black, as I said, because whenever you have a minority attack, meaning a position where you advance your pawns aggressively, when you advance your pawns aggressively, as you do in many Sicilians, if you don't checkmate me, what happens? All the pawns you advance on the queen side are now weakness, and as you saw, they sort of fell apart. And I was able to win the endgame because of it. Maybe I could have also just taken on a6, as I said, but I'm pretty sure that this was, like I said, it got a little bit tricky down the end. He made it look a little bit more dangerous than it was, but this was not really a game that was in doubt. I miscalculated. I thought I was 1 tempo ahead. I thought I was playing rook b8 before h3, and I just didn't calculate, but the position was winning enough that it didn't really matter. As they say in Mother Russia, it was simply a matter of technique at this point, and that's exactly what she wrote. Alright everybody, I'll see you around on the main site. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you around on Chess.com.